Hello guys, welcome to the Wednesday forecast. So let's take a look at the market. We have the euro and US dollar and it's looking pretty good. So this one is looking nice. What I did really like about this particular pair is so that we were having this clean ascending structure and then we did reverse to the downside. So this was a very clean ascending in my opinion. As you can see, we sort of had a smaller ascending inside of this larger ascending structure. And at the top we were breaking the highs, retracing, breaking the highs, retracing, breaking the highs, leaving wicks. As you can see right here, we were just leaving wicks and we were ready to reverse to a downside. Then we got this impulse, got no opportunity to enter, the pullback was really small, and then we continued. And now we have this large impulse down. One warning sign that I do currently see is that this impulse is not that clean. So first we have this bullish candle inside of this bearish impulse, and then we have started to have these wicks to the downside. We have a large wick here, left a wick here. So I would like to see a bit of a cleaner push. I would like to see a clean close without a wick. And I would like to see maybe a larger candle like we are forming now, and then I would definitely consider taking a trade. So if we get a nice clear opportunity, I will look for that pullback to get in on a flag. A flag is just a formation like this. We have first part of the pullback, small pause, second part of the pullback, and then we usually continue with the trend. Or I will be looking for a small pullback. I would not probably be looking for the price to reach the upper entry area, so the inside bar, for a break and a retest. So this would be the break, and then we would retest that area because it's kind of too far away for me personally. We have really went far away. Let me see. So what's this, like 55 pips? I don't want it to retrace all the way back to this inside bar, so I will probably just look for that smaller flag, or I will look for a nice pullback and then a continuation, then a break and retest trade, something like this. I want to see it pullback, break with momentum, and then I would look to sell short. Or I will see if we get a smaller pullback and then a nice flag further down. That would also be great. We can also get a V reversal, always a possibility, and then a range, push up, impulse up. As you saw maybe on the Instagram forecast that I did last evening, this is a really common pattern that occurs. So if we do get this, I'm looking for the price to push further up, and I'm definitely being prepared. We can also get a large impulse up and then look for a flag, or we can start to descend. If we start to descend, I will look for a reversal to the upside. It's very important to see if the price is starting to descend, because that signals usually the end of the impulse and the end of the move. So be alert for that. And same thing to the upside, we can get an ascending, and then we can reverse to the downside and get a nice flag. That's it for EU. This candle looks very good currently. It looks like it's dropping even more. So let's see if this momentum will continue and if we can look for a sell. So then we have the euro and the Japanese yen, and this one is not looking that good. So this one is descending. What I can see this descending structure right here, and the overall price action is not looking clean. You can see huge wicks here, huge wick, large wicks here, wicks right here. Usually when we see wicks on the Japanese pairs, it means bad price action, and it means we need to be a bit more patient, wait for the price action to clean up. And that's exactly what I will be doing. So if we get a nice clean descending structure, I will look for an impulse to the upside for that reversal. If we start to ascend, I will be very careful, because usually when we get a descending going into an ascending, it just tends to range for a long time in a larger area. So be careful about that. Also, we can get a large impulse up and a large impulse down, and then look for a continuation pattern to sell. On the euro pairs, we can get a descending and then impulse in the same direction, or look for an impulse to the upside and a nice reversal. But I would really need to see a nice large push up, because the cleaner price action, the prior price action is not the cleanest, unfortunately. So I need to see that a large conviction. Let's move on to the Aussie pairs. Aussie US dollar, it looks good. It looks good to me. We had this range bound structure right here. We had a descending going into an ascending, as you can see when we connect the highs and the lows, indicating a range bound market. But then we did impulse down with some large momentum. Let's see how big this move is. So looks like it's a 70 pip move, which is nice. That's okay. That's not bad. And what I want to see currently after this large impulse, I want to see a nice continuation pattern. So maybe a nice small flag, something like that. I don't want to see a larger flag, so this I don't want to see. It usually doesn't tend to work out on this particular pair. But if it's a small flag, it usually tends to go with the trend. And if we get a small pullback, we get more momentum down. I will look for a break and retest and look to sell. Let me draw it out. Look to sell right here if we do get this push and a pullback. Very important to see if we start descending, look for a reversal to the upside. Don't be looking to sell after that sort of a descending formation, because we usually reverse after that. Or if we get the V, same as on the euro US dollar, look for a push up and a nice trade. Very high probability common pattern. Or if we get a really large impulse up, look for a nice flag. Or another possibility, we start to ascend. In that case, I would be really careful, because the overall price action is signaling a range, and this would just indicate more range bound price action. So be a bit more careful with that sort of a formation. But yeah, currently I like this impulse. It's a large impulse and it is expected since it's Wednesday. On Wednesday we usually start to get some nice moves, so I was kind of expecting that. And also take into account when we do range for a long time, so when nothing really happens for a long time, usually a nice trend starts. So I'm definitely seeing if this will give us a nice trend, because as I said, from range bound price action we usually start to trend. The accumulation phase was this, and then the distribution phase is usually a large move up or a large move down. So let's now move over to the final pair, and this one is looking the worst. This is the Aussie and the Japanese yen, and this one is heavily range bound, as we can see here. So I really don't like this pair. Currently it doesn't look clean. We are getting a nice large impulse down, but the prior price action is a concern. We had this ascending, then we had this push down, got huge wicks retraced. So this is definitely not looking that good, and I would say that there are liquidity areas. So there is a liquidity area below and above this overall range, so I would be a bit more careful with this one. But one thing that it has going for it is this impulse. It does look nice. We had a small bullish candle here, but nothing really to be concerned about, since the momentum did continue. And currently what I would like to see is, if we get a really clean flag, I would consider taking it, but I would really like to see more of a push. I would really like to see a nice large impulse down to give me even more of a confirmation, and then a nice flag to go short. Or what I would also like to see is a small pullback and then another push and a break and a retest trade. Be careful if we start to descend, then look for a reversal to the upside, like this. If we get a V, then of course look for that common pattern, something like this. Push up, as we had here, but we did not push up. We had the V, we had the start of the range, but we did not push up. Instead we went back into this sort of a range bound price action. If we start to ascend, I would not look for any trades, because it would be too range bound for me personally. And yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it, but if we start to descend, be really careful. I would even not look for a reversal, since we are coming from really bad price action, so this would be a no trade for me. So to sum up about this pair, it doesn't look good. This large impulse is the only thing going for it, but the prior price action is a concern for me, so I want to see some really nice price action to be looking to sell short. That's about it. Looks like we are starting to get some moves. Let's see what will happen next. Be a bit more patient, I would say. On the Euro US dollar, I would definitely be looking for a nice trade that looks to be setting up really good. But on the other pairs, be a bit more patient, and see you guys tomorrow. Check out my evening forecasts if you want. They're on Instagram, the link is in the description. So that's it, and I will see you guys.